For quite some time I had in mind getting Phanteks P400A, and here we are. It's an ATX mid-tower very affordable PC case with a mesh type front panel. And today I will be unboxing and having a closer look inside, as well as running a thermal test so you guys could see on how it performs. If this is your first time on this channel, on Epic Game Tech I share my passion in gaming PC build videos, unboxing parts and helping you guys by posting simple how-to guides. So if you find these topics interesting, consider subscribing. So Phanteks Eclipse P400A was one of those PC cases I wanted to review myself, as I've seen quite some praises from other content creators. As I've used it in one of my recent PC builds, I have a chance to deep dive and present P400A features and thermals to you guys. P400A features edge-to-edge tempered glass side panel. It's held in place by a few thumb screws. Just make sure you place your hand below a glass when removing it. Side panel sits quite well even with no screws, but I suggest securing it as soon as possible. I'm really a big fan of Phanteks front panel quick release implementation. Just place your hand below and the front panel will pop off very easily, so you have no probs removing or mounting a panel again. Mesh should not restrict any airflow, but we will check the thermal test with panel on and off later in this video. Also, panel acts sort of as a dust filter. Well, smaller particles will pass through, but it's good enough, having in mind you will get lots of fresh air. The other side panel is a standard one, and is held by two captive thumb screws, so you do not have to worry about losing them. At the bottom, underneath the PSU, we have a dust filter. I like this bottom filter as it has some plastic housing, so it's quite easily removable and you'll have no probs when cleaning. At the top, there is a magnetic dust filter, but most likely it will not be so useful, as the top fan should be mounted as an exhaust ones. Let's have a closer look at front I/O. We have an audio and mic jack, two USB 3.0 ports and a power button. Two more buttons are hiding under this edge. A reset button, and the other one is for controlling fan speed in case you are using an integrated fan hub. And so a fan hub supports up to 3 fans, probably more if you have an additional splitter. Also, you will need to connect a SATA power cable, and you will be able to switch between 3 different fan speeds: low, medium or full speed. I've tested all of these speeds in a thermal test, so you will be able to see a difference, if any, later on. Let's have a look inside. Eclipse P400A comes with a 2 pre-installed 120mm fans. One is mounted at the front middle section as an intake, and the other one at the back as an exhaust. So I would say it's quite an okay out-of-the-box fan configuration. There are some cable management cutouts at the top, bottom, and the ones in the midsection are covered with rubber grommets. This case has quite nice storage capabilities, so in case you are planning to use tons of drives, you can remove these plastic covers, and so you will be able to mount 4 hard drives or SSDs using these HDD brackets. But have in mind you would have to order them separately, as they do not come with a PC case. I guess it's useful if you are building a home server or a workstation with lots of storage. Actually, P400A supports a vertical GPU mount, but additional bracket needs to be purchased separately. That's right, you'll need to spend some bucks again, but have in mind most of the built-in vertical GPU mounts are not so great, since a GPU appears very close to a side glass panel. With a Phanteks bracket, GPU sits further, and so your video card has more space to breathe. P400A has really decent motherboard support, as you can fit ATX, micro ATX and mini ITX motherboards. Even eATX motherboards are supported, but you will not be able to use those rubber grommets. As for fan support, you can mount 3 120 or 2 140mm fans at the front, 2 120 or 140mm fans at the top, and 1 120mm fan at the back. In case you decide to opt in for a water cooling system, you can mount up to 360mm radiator at the front or 120mm rad at the back. Unfortunately, radiator mounting is not supported at the top, at least officially. But possibly you can mount some thin rad with low profile fans, in case you have a good clearance with your motherboard, cooler and low profile RAM. But I would stick with using front mounting if you want to run AIO. Also have in mind, when using 360 and possibly 280mm rad at the front, you will need to remove this plate. Depending on how you want to mount your fans, inside or outside, you might need to remove a drive cage as well. At the other side we have a few hook and loop straps that make sort of a cable routing channel and some zip tie points. Phanteks P400A has quite a nice storage support. You can mount two 2.5-inch drives behind a motherboard tray. You'll have to screw a drive to a bracket and then slide it on a rubberized screws. Two more 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drives can be installed to a drive bay. 3.5-inch drive can be mounted super easy and no tools are required. As for 2.5-inch drive, you will need to use screws. Additional to this, you can mount 4 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drives inside of a case using optional brackets I've mentioned previously. I've used P400A in my recent PC build with RTX 3070 and Ryzen 9 3900X. It turned out really awesome, so I will leave a link to this build at the top right corner. Alright, let's have a look at thermal numbers. To stress the CPU, I was running Blender and at the same time I was stressing a GPU with MSI Combustor. Measured a few different configurations, starting with 2 stock fans and low fan speed mode using an integrated fan hub. The CPU temperature was almost 65 degrees Celsius delta T over ambient and the GPU was running at 45 degrees. With the same configuration but medium fan speed, CPU temps dropped by 3 degrees and the GPU by 2 degrees Celsius. Using a full speed setting, temperatures got even better, and so both CPU and GPU dropped by a few degrees more. But as you can see, the bigger improvement is achieved when switching from low to medium fan speed. For the last configuration, fans were running at full speed, but the front mesh panel was removed. And so the temperatures dropped by 5 degrees on CPU and 2 degrees on a GPU side. That's also a decent temps improvement. I've tested some other PC cases where mesh panels were affecting temperatures less, but this is not a bad result by any means. It's sort of an average temp drop you can expect when removing a mesh front panel, and compared to non-mesh PC cases, it really shines. Phanteks P400A MSRP price is $69.99 US, but currently you can find it for around $75 in US or 70 euros in Europe. There are a few more versions of this PC case, P400A Digital Black or White, and they have 3 addressable RGB fans at the front. So after building a Phanteks P400A, I can really recommend it to anyone building a mid-range PC for around $100 US or more. I hope you enjoyed P400A review, and you can find even more reviews by clicking here.